Hello, 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 everybody. We are here once again for our monthly webinar. As you can see, our A.R.M Outreach Community Enrichment webinar. Today's topic is going to be nonprofit is a nonprofit boot camp. Amen. With the one and only Cheryl Reid Pitts. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I tell you, um, we're going to take just a moment just to give a little time for some to join. We always give just that time for some people to start popping in. And we'll keep that overlay up there for you just for a moment so you all can see what our topic is today. You all make sure that you share the broadcast. It's free. Um, Tag someone, share it to your page. And you can go on Facebook. If you have another device, Cheryl, you can go to Abundant Rain Ministry, and you should see the broadcast going right now, and then you can share it to your page. I wonder if I can share. Let me see if I can share it to your page. I should be able to.
Yeah, because I just had a person that just said she couldn't see me.
Okay. Yes, does she see the overlay? She probably see the overlay right now. We're gonna remove that in just a moment,
Oh,
just so people can see where uh oh, let's see what's happening. Why am I not able to share this to my page? What is that about? Hmm. Yeah, we'll just move that right quickly, just so they can know that we are here. God bless everyone and thank you for tuning in. Yeah, let's see. Why is this not giving me an option to share to my own page? What is that about? Let's see. Okay. All right, here we go. I got it now.
okay.
Yeah, let's see. Oh, we are so excited. I'm looking forward to what the Lord is going to release um, through this. This is such a much needed um,
Oh, yes, it is.
topic. Isn't that right, Pastor? That
It
nonprofit.
it is.
It
It
is.
is.
Oh, Lord, and then because of trying to find the right person, to get information from, and different people steering you in this direction and that direction, and everything, it's just something. So we are excited to have you on with us today. Um, all right, let's see if we have some followers. Pastor, you see we got any followers before we actually dive in? Just
Yeah,
try
we
to
like
give
six
just a
people on right this moment.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so let me you know what? I didn't bring my headphones over here, but if I have to run and get it, I mean, I will. Y'all can just continue the conversation, but I think I'm good for right now. All right. Well,
Okay.
we thank God for everyone that is tuned in. As you all know, we do this once a month. Once a month, we do our community um, outreach. Hey, God bless you, Nikitia Bush. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Do us a favor and share this broadcast. Tag someone else in it. Send it to their inbox on their Facebook page or whatever it is you have to do. All right. Cheryl, were you able to share it to your page?
Yes, I not only
Okay.
shared it to my page, I actually shared it on Instagram as well.
Oh,
So
that is so awesome. All right.
Mhm.
Awesome. Absolutely. Okay, well, you guys, we have with us on today, this is a special lady. I tell you, when I first moved to Georgia, and I don't even know how I stumbled across, I don't even know. I think it was a flyer or some type of something I saw. I think it was a flyer or something. And I called her, and I tell you, ever since then, she has been a blessing in my life, in Abundant Rain Ministries' life, Pastor
Wow.
Burrell's life, and she has done so much for the church, for Abundant Rain
Yes.
Ministry. I tell you, one thing I love about her is her work ethic. She definitely knows what she's doing and what she's talking about. When we first did our 501c3. When I tell you this awesome lady uh, put that application in and that thing went through on the first time. You know, I've heard
Wow.
so many stories of folks it being sent back and they got to revise and add
Mm-hmm.
this and do that. And that stuff is expensive. And so every time these applications and all of that, but I tell you, she is so knowledgeable in this area. So I encourage you all to tune in today. Make sure that you are tagging someone and sharing this. And so we're not going to hold it up any longer, but we have Pastor Shamika Burrell, amen, with us, our pastor of
Hello.
Abundant Rain Ministry,
Mm.
myself, Apostle Dedric D. Perry, the founder of Abundant Rain Ministry, and we have Cheryl Reid Pitts with us. This is today's topic is nonprofit boot camp, and we thank God for what she has been doing in the lives of so many people, helping so many nonprofits. And so at this time, we're going to allow Cheryl to take it from here.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. I agree with what you said about how much this information is needed because people go into having a nonprofit with an idea.
Mm,
And, I'm just going to start right there because people go into it with an idea, but then they
mm-hmm.
don't know the intricate details of what that nonprofit has to entail. And
Wow.
so, they're thinking that if they can go in it and they can get a grant and this and that, and their mind is set there, but they don't know, they don't know what they have to do to get themselves in position to be able to get that type of funding. And it's not easy, it's extremely competitive. There's a lot of nonprofits out there. There's a lot of nonprofits that get started. There's a lot that lose their tax exempt status over the course of time. And sometimes the reason for it is just neglect. Sometimes it's a little deeper than that, but some of the points that I want to hit on today, um, there's like five main things that I want to talk about that I think will be helpful to nonprofits or people that are thinking about starting a nonprofit. And so those five things are going to be the 501c3 application itself. It's going to be about the articles of incorporation, which of course that falls under the 501c3 application. Maintaining the status, what you have to do that, your board of directors, strategic planning, and of course, we'll talk a little bit about grant writing. We're not going to get deep into that because that's a topic unto itself. So, I can give you the basics, but knowing the real ins and outs of grant writing takes a little more time than me just telling you a couple little things about it. But what I will tell you is going to get your mind right as far as the nonsense that other people tell you that you can and cannot do with grant writing. So, just to jump right in, the 501c3 application requires, there are a couple of different types of application. Well, there are several different types, but the main applications, the charitable applications, is there is a long form application, which was the standard application once upon a time. And then there's a shorter form that they created called both of them are Form 1023. Both of them are available through the IRS website. Um, well, the IRS will direct you on how to access the applications, but the new thing is that both are available to do online. And it's just a little bit shorter process. Um, the newer one of the two applications is called the streamlined application. And the streamlined application, if you're eligible for it, should take about 90 days. Um, Now there's some instances when they can still come back in 2 weeks and give you that determination, but that happens a little less often now. I understand that there's a lot of scams out there, so I think that they try to do a little bit of a deep dive so they know, or at least they can keep an eye on what people are doing. And I tell you that sometimes people think they're doing the smart thing by doing the streamlined application, and yet they've actually got an organization that maybe has a promise of, $100,000 or $1 million. So the streamlined application is actually cheaper. It's uh, $275 to do that application, but your budget has to be less than $50,000. Otherwise, you have to do the longer application, which is $600. And people just don't want to pay that money, but it's a little ridiculous. And what they wind up doing is putting everybody else under a spotlight, because when the IRS starts having to look at people, and this is what actually changed the streamlined process, because it used to be a really quick and easy process, but when people started using that application for their own dirty little purposes, then the IRS started looking a little deeply at those applications. And so every once in a while now they'll pull one and they'll require more information, and it's not a big deal, because once you get to that point, you're basically done. But you can't be afraid of doing a little more information. I laughed because you said the stories of people having to give more information, but the bigger problem there was the people that needed to give the information, the people that did the application in the first place, were nowhere to be found. So they're stuck now, and they don't know how to proceed from there. And so that's just a little sidebar, but those are the two types of applications. And with that longer application, you still have to do the bylaws and the budget and the narrative. All of that still is required. And along with that application process is the articles of incorporation, which is done through the state. It can be reached through any state secretary of state. So in other words, if you're going to do it in Georgia, go to the Georgia Secretary of State. And most states have a corporations division or some kind of business division where you can access that application online as well. And the processes are not difficult. It's just that if you really don't know what you're doing, it's best to contact somebody who does, because what you don't want to have to do is put something down there where you thought you knew what you were doing, and then it has to be amended, because the state won't tell you what needs to be on the application. So that's the 501c3 application. Like I said, a streamlined application takes about 90 days, and the longer application takes about 6 months, give or take. It might be quicker. There's ways to expedite it if you are eligible for that process to be done. Once you get your determination, you must maintain it by filing your annual return. If you're not a church, churches are not required, or anybody that has a specific religious designation, like you all do, are not required to file the 990. Um, but most people are required to file that 990, and the H&R Block to get it done. Um, so, um, but it's required after the end of your fiscal year, meaning your tax year. So most people run on a calendar year, January to December, and 5.5 months, which would be May. Okay, so that's basically it for the 501c3 application. The next thing that I wanted to touch on is your board of directors. Now, again, most people go into starting their nonprofit with an idea. And most nonprofits, because a true nonprofit, you are granted that nonprofit status through your articles of incorporation with every state that you register in. But the tax exempt status is they just have certain requirements for you to maintain. Let me say it a different way. You are technically a nonprofit once you register with the state, once your articles of incorporation are accepted. But your nonprofit status makes you a charitable entity. And so with that, and with the state, they require a board of directors, and generally a working board, not a board in name only, which is what a lot of people wind up having because they don't know people and blah blah blah, so they put people down there to fill in. But what they don't understand is that your board has a legal responsibility toward the nonprofit. It has a legal responsibility to make sure that things are working for the good of the community that your nonprofit has been set up to serve. So I just have a few points to help people understand what the board is responsible for. The first thing is to help them determine their mission or the purpose, the mission and the purpose. You may have the idea and you may even know what the mission is, but it really takes a little more thought than just slapping a couple on paper. Even once you have it on paper, sometimes it requires tweaking so you can get it to where it really needs to be. And everybody on your board needs to understand and know what that mission is. Because one of the other things that they're responsible for is broadcasting your organization to the community. They're responsible for putting you out there to the community. So if you have a program that you need to get the word out about, yes, your board is they're the face of the organization. And they should be telling everybody that they know about the program, and that serves several purposes: to to be able to promote whatever program that you have, or and not or and to be able to help raise funding, which is another one of their responsibilities. All the funding doesn't come through grants like some people think. All your money is not going to come through grants. You gotta be creative when it comes to raising money, especially the more you need. And sometimes it's so competitive that very little of your money is going to come through grant funding anyway. So, another one of their purposes is to select the director, the executive director or chief executive officer, whatever you want to call them. The director is the person that's going to run the program. They're the person that's going to be responsible for operations within the organization. That's not the board's job. And their job is not to micromanage, even though they want to do that sometimes. Even though sometimes in the beginning also that, maybe your chairperson or your president actually winds up being the executive director. That happens too, because we got a lot of small organizations. And the reality is that sometimes that person is going to wear 2 or 3 hats. It is what it is. But as long as you have other people helping you, what you don't want your board to do is sit there and watch you sink, because they'll do that. I know organizations where that has personally happened, and the person is just barely treading water, and I don't know if they're just waiting for them to fail or what the deal is, but they won't jump in and do what she asked them to do. It becomes hard on that person and discouraging. And so when they start thinking about quitting, it makes you wonder. And just a quick story, I had a friend, she built this organization, and I mean, even from the 501, we started off doing a 501c3, and the process just took a long time, because at that time everything was through mail, wasn't online. Now here's the thing, the IRS communicates through mail. They may call you if they have a phone number, but they'll never email you. And so that's how you know it's a scam, when they start emailing. When people, you get these scam emails from the IRS, anyone can make anything look like anything now. So he was sending me these huge packets, asking me the same questions over and over. And finally, when I got tired of getting the same information, I called him. And all he really wanted to know was whether it should be a 501c3 or C4, because what she was doing, she was down on Defusky Island, right off the coast of South Carolina. It's the last sea island before you get to Savannah. And she was trying to create like a tourism package. People could come and visit the island. They have the Gullah Geechee Festival down there, and she's trying to create a waterway taxi between the sea islands of South Carolina. Well, she did all that work, God bless her, and then I hadn't heard from her for a while, so I called her, found out she was sick, and she passed. And but all this board, my point is, all of this board of directors that she built was not just built on, she had some friends on there. They were all people that she knew, but they watched her work, and when she passed away, they let that organization fall by the wayside. And I was so sad for her that they had done that. That's not the point. The board is supposed to carry it on, so that's why you have to make sure that you have people that see your vision, that understand the mission, that are going to work with you uh, to do what you're trying to do, whether you're there to do the work or not. you know they were legally responsible to carry on that work, and they let it go. I mean, they didn't have to. They could have let it go like they did, but it's just how hard she worked to do everything, that's what made me sad. And these are supposed to be friends of hers. So anyway, the other things that uh the board is responsible for is, of course, planning, effective planning, monitor and strengthen the programs and services, ensure adequate financial resources for the executive director to do their work, for the organization to do their work, protect the assets, um, and provide financial oversight, ensure legal and ethical integrity, because again, the board is ultimately responsible for all of that, legally responsible, and then enhance the organization's public standing. So those are some of the things that I'd really like people to remember when they're choosing a board. And if they can find some type of training, board training, or even if they can find, because there are some organizations around that will give some funding for board training. I think that it's a good thing to try to take advantage of that, because if you have, the more training you have, I think the more effective your board will be. So the next thing is strategic planning. Now, there was a time that I didn't feel like planning, business planning, strategic planning, whatever. I thought it was an option. And let me tell you, over the course of time, I have found that was so wrong about that, and wrong because like I said, a lot of people start off with a plan for their nonprofit, and they have a program in mind, and that's how they operate. They may get started, operate that program, it may be effective, but then they hit a wall, and now they don't know why they hit that wall, or what to do to navigate over it, around it, under it. They don't know what to do or where to go. So the same thing is the same thing is it's the same thing as when you have a business. You should not go into a business without a plan. You should not go into a nonprofit without a plan. Even if you don't start with that plan, eventually there needs to be one, because what the plan is going to do is it's going to strengthen your mission. It's going to give you direction. You don't have to put it out there for anybody but the board members to see. But the board members need to know what that plan is, because um, you don't want to get to a place where, and again, I've seen examples of that, but you don't want to get to a place where you can operate for a year or two, and then when certain things change within that program, things are going to change. They're always going to change. Um, it could be the number of employees or volunteers you have. You may not have enough. Um, you may not know what budget you need, and the budget is a killer. You may have enough money to do certain things, like, let's say, for example, you get $10,000 to operate the program, and you're able to operate the program. um, you're able to operate the program for a year, but within that year you haven't tried to get any further funding. This is another issue, that nonprofits have. You think that you can depend on that same funding from that same source year after year. But the reality is that maybe coming in the coming years, you get more clients or you get more people taking advantage of the program. You might actually need more funding, and you haven't done your due diligence to get that money. So now you're kind of stuck, and you're stuck without being able to move forward because you don't have the money that you need to move forward. This is what planning does. It helps you to not get stagnated. It helps you to keep moving forward, because now you've laid out a plan to be able to navigate issues and problems. So some of the basics that I think that people need to consider, even if they don't know what the whole process of strategic planning, because there's a lot more to it than what I'm going to give. But these things, I think, will help them at least put something on paper until they can tighten it up. And so you have to start with your mission, which of course states what your purpose is, and your vision states where you see yourself in the future. Where do you see yourself going with the and we're talking about organization wise, because all of your programs need to fit within your mission. You understand what I'm saying? All of your programs, like, if let's say, for example, your mission is to help single mothers uh, to be able to become financially successful, or build wealth, or whatever, however you want to say it. And then your programs are going to be to offer a class, an entrepreneurship class for single mothers, or to offer um, employment, or be a resource for employment training for certain things, like maybe um, uh, brick mason or electrician. Just be the connection for them to be able to get into those programs, or connection to get into college. All of your programs have to be geared toward whatever that mission is. And then your budget is another component of the strategic plan. You need to develop an operating budget. What is it going to take for you to operate realistic and reasonable, realistic and reasonable, not $1 million, because it ain't gonna take you a million. If somebody put $1 million in your hand, you wouldn't know how to spend it, or you wouldn't spend it right. And that's what we as people have problem with money management. Okay, so it's easy to say that you want this and want that and want the other.
That's what Pastor Shamika is for. Teach you
Right,
how to
that's
manage
exactly
money.
right. But see, she knows, but everybody doesn't. And I'm telling you, everybody doesn't. So you can have a few dollars here, and you can figure out how to use that small budget But let's say, and this is one of the main problems, and this is actually why I'm happy to be doing this nonprofit boot camp. One of the issues is that um, nonprofits, especially during this time of COVID, have been getting some real money in their hands, and they haven't had it before. They haven't had. I mean, I don't care if it's $20,000. That's not a whole lot of money. But if you are used to operating on 5 and not 20, or if you've now gotten 50 or 100,000, now they're afraid because they don't want to get into trouble for spending it on the wrong thing. Um, they don't know what to spend it on, or how to get things started, or how to move that up. And I know that this is jumping out of the strategic planning thing and into more of the receiving grants. But a lot of them have gotten this money, and they wind up giving it back, which I know sounds ridiculous, but they're afraid because somebody else has written a grant for them. They haven't bothered to really look and see what was written for them, study the budget that was created for them. They haven't done any of that. So really what they need is they need training after getting the grant. They need somebody to come in there, like I wouldn't go in there and help them spend the money, but I'm certainly going to tell you, if I can study that grant application, I can certainly tell you what it says you're supposed to be doing. Because there's no need to be afraid. If they gave you the money, then clearly they believe that you can do what you said you could do. But that's an issue. So if you have a budget, and this is the importance of creating a budget rather than having someone create one for you. If you have a budget created, then you're already going to know what that money is supposed to be spent on. When once that somebody comes in and writes that grant for you. So out of that operating budget, you'll have the projected income, and everything is projected in a budget. You're going to have the projected income and expenses, and then you're going to have your program costs. And your program costs are important because without them, you're not, even if you don't stick to it, or you're going above or beyond it, because again, things change. um if you write it on paper, then you'll know what you're supposed to be doing. And it's just, to me, it's become a thing that is so simple. And people don't get that. They don't get that. But I'm telling you that it's necessary for both businesses and for nonprofits. And especially if you're a nonprofit that has a business component, then it becomes really necessary to be able to keep your finances separated, so what. If you need to be paying taxes on any money that you have made that is something that you started after the fact, that was not included in your tax exemption. um, it's not a big deal. You just got to make sure you do what you're supposed to be doing. Make sure that that this income that you have brought, even though you're using it for the nonprofit, uh, is straight business income, and it's not part of the exemption from taxes. So planning is essential, I think, especially when it comes to changing some of the things that need to be done. Okay, so the last thing is grant writing. And like I said about the grant writing, people can figure out how to do it. They just need to do it. Grant writing is just a thing that you need to do. And here's the simple secret to it. Read, read what they're asking for, and give them what they're asking for. It ain't that hard. There's some real simple. Sometimes people will just send you grant after grant after grant, or they'll send you a list of all this stuff and expect you to go through it. And you know, I mean, I'm not doing it. That's just me. I don't mind doing the research, but if you got time to find lists and lists of grants, then you got time to read through that stuff and see what fits for you. Um, but there's some simple. Some of the grants are simple. Some of them are a little more detailed and intricate. Federal grants are just hard. I'm not even going to sit here and say that they're not. They're hard. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't try. It's time consuming and it's tedious. And the same thing applies. You just got to read. You got to read and see what they're asking you for and give them what they're asking for. And if you're unable to do it the first time, I just feel like that's the only way that you can learn how to do it, is to just do it, whether it's wrong or right or whatever. If you don't write, you're not going to learn how to write. Oh, let me also say this. When it comes to, I don't care if it's a grant application, a strategic plan, most of the things like that, there's nothing new under the sun. And so nobody has to reinvent the wheel. Nobody has to sit down and look at it and be all baffled and befuddled and, go online and find something that matches. You don't have to write it word for word, but what it does is it gives you an idea of what you're supposed to be writing. It gives you an idea of what it needs to say when you go on there and find something like that. Because if you try to sit there and you're not a grant writer by trade, then you'll be sitting there looking at that paper like, what am I supposed to put down? Or you put something down there that's nonsensical. So, go online and find some stuff. Look for stuff is there, and it can be found, but you have to find it. As far as grant writing is concerned, I think it's a good thing to, if you want to be responsible for your own grants, I think that it's a good thing to learn how to do it yourself. And I think it's a good thing to learn to do it yourself regardless, because you don't want to get stuck in that place I was just talking about, where people get a grant and now they don't know what they're supposed to be spending the money on. You don't want to be in that place. You want to be able to look at the proposal that was written for your organization, and you want to be able to break it down and do exactly. As a matter of fact, you don't want anybody to write something for you and you don't know what they're writing. You want to be able to sit with that grant writer, have that conversation about what they're supposed to be doing or what you're doing in your program. Why should they make it up? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to make it up. The reason why you're going for a grant is because you've been doing the work. You've already, established a track record. You don't have to let people, just go off on their own and make up something. So here are some of the basic components of the proposal. You need to prove that you have a significant need. If you're already doing the program, then that's proof enough. If it's a successful program, that's proof enough. Um, you need to be able to deliver the solution to whatever that problem is. And so when I'm saying these things, I mean, you need to be able to put it on paper. You need to be able to put it on paper so other people will know. Um, and you want to make sure that you are describing whatever the change is that's occurring because of your work. Um, so I want to skip down on my points to say that one of the big grants and like any opportunity to get donations is to develop a relationship with the grant maker. Um, Most grant makers, if you're using like um, um, a funder that's within the state, and every state has several, most of them, even if they give money to wherever, most of them that are located in your state are going to stay in the state for grant making. So talk to them, call them up, talk to them, and tell them about your program. If you're having an event, invite them to the event. They may come, they may not, but invite them anyway. Maybe you need them to participate in something that you're doing. If you don't talk to them, tell them what you're doing, you can't hope to get them interested just by sending a proposal, because they get a lot of proposals. And so, you never know when yours is going to hit the circular file. Yeah, and if you're not talking about what they want to hear according to what they're looking for, then they're not going to read it anyway. So you might as well call them and talk to them first, and see what you see. Either they're interested and they'll invite you to submit a proposal, or they won't. But one of the other things that is valuable is um, their opinions, their advice. That stuff is very valuable because they're the ones that can really tell you what grant makers are looking for, and how your proposal can be successful. Um, So you want to make sure that you reflect planning, research, and your vision throughout the proposal. By that, you don't want to just sit and write. You want to make sure that um, you want to know what the need is. You want to know how many people actually are in need of the services that you're trying to provide. You want to know what the number of people in the state, like I was saying about single mothers, how many single mothers in the state. you know um, can I say that in South Carolina that there's more single mothers in the city, or there's just as many single mothers that are unemployed or seasonally employed in the rural areas of the state? There's a lot. And and so you want to know what those numbers are, not for that, but for whatever your program is. And you want it to be accurate. You don't want to use stuff that's 10 years old, because again, things change. um you want to research the funding purposes. So if you have found 10 funders that, when you look at it on the surface, it looks like something that is compatible to what you're looking for. Keep reading, read deep. You got to go all the way to the end, because everything can look beautiful and pretty, and then you get to that one thing that knocks it out. One of the things that people will say is that you can write a blanket proposal and send it everywhere, and that's nonsense. You can't do that. What you don't want to do is be the organization that sends out proposals like that. And so when the funders look and see you coming, they're not even going to read you. They're just going to put it in the trash. So don't be that person. read the whole thing. Make sure you understand what they're looking for, because they have a mission and a vision and a purpose too. But they have to match. They have to match. What you're doing has to match what they're doing. And more importantly, what you're doing has to match what they're doing. They don't have to change for you. You know, you don't want to change for them either. But if there can be, because I've seen that happen. There can be that one thing that just catastrophically knocks you out, and so everything else looks good, but that's not, that one thing just kills the whole thing. um and with that being said, you want to determine the grant maker's goals and objectives and make sure that they match what you're looking for. You want to target your proposals to the correct grant funder. Again, for the same reason. But don't limit your request to one grant maker. You have to find multiple, and there's so many um grants out there. I mean, I can't even tell a person any one place to look, because they always come up. But the more you're out there and the more you're looking, the more you're gonna find. The more you're gonna find. Um, Again, contact the grant maker prior to writing the proposal. That'll keep you from wasting time and keep it from going in the trash. Like I said, I called it the circular file, but I'm just gonna go ahead and call it what it really is. It's the trash or the shredder, whatever. And then you want to make sure that you present the proposal if you're invited to send one. Or there's some organizations that just say send the proposal. But you want to present it in a complete format, including the attachments that they're asking for. You want to make sure you cover the important criteria, like the purpose, the feasibility of your proposal, the community need, um, the funds that are needed, um, uh, provide the services that you say that you're providing, or do what you do. And then also you want to make sure that the logic of the project, the outcomes are important. The outcomes are important. Let me say again that outcomes are important. The impact of the funds and what community support that you have. So that's just basic. It's real basic. And I am probably, in the coming time, because I have people asking me about doing a grant writing workshop, I'm probably going to do that in the next month or so. Uh, yeah, I'm probably going to do a 4-part or 5-part series uh, on the grant writing, so that I can cover all of the um, everything that needs to be covered for the grant writing, so people can have a better idea what they're looking at. It'll cover research. It'll cover um, the basics of writing the proposals. We're not going to cover anything like federal proposals, because that's just long and drawn out for no reason. And um, so I will probably announce through um, my Facebook page, which is CAP Consulting. Yes, I've done nonprofit assistance, and I actually do classes, but since CAP Consulting is my business, that's where I work the most. I'll announce through there as well when I'm going to do that grant writing class.
Okay, so make sure, Cheryl, when you do that, make sure you send me a message, inbox me or that info so that we can know when the class is going to be. I don't want to miss that.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Oh, I think it might be stuck. Yeah, I think she's frozen. Is
I
she
still
frozen
can't
on
hear
your
you.
end? Oh,
She was,
can
but
you
I
hear
think
me?
she's moving now.
I
Okay.
can't hear either one of you. I
Oh,
can't hear.
Oh no.
wow. I don't know why. Our mics are on.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's me. Again?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, let me try this.
Can you hear us? I think it's still frozen.
Yeah, I think it's frozen. Can you hear us now?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
I don't know.
What happened? Oh no. Wow. Let me
I have
see.
no
Maybe let me
sound.
remove. Let me see. Let me take her out. Let me try to see if I can take her out and then put her back in and see what happens. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I think
Did she go all the way out?
I know, right? Let me see. Oh Lord.
Oh, there she go.
Can you hear us now, Cheryl?
That's terrible.
What?
I don't know. I don't know. I cannot hear. I heard you
Wow.
fine
Oh
before. I
man.
don't know what's happening now.
Exactly. We get right to the end. Well, we are going to, oh no, we're going to post up. I was trying to get her the contact information, um, all of the contact information. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Maybe let me try something again. I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Cheryl?
I You can hear me, but I can't hear you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
Um, well, let me give contact information. How about
yes.
that?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
So, okay, you can call me at area code 803
Okay.
743
Wait a minute. Okay.
803 743
Mhm.
5060.
Okay.
And but you can also email me at um cap consulting 330 at gmail.com.
Okay. Okay. Cap Consultant 330 at gmail.com. Okay.
I do also have a cap consulting Facebook page,
Okay.
and so I do put information on there as well.
Okay. Okay. Yes. You all make sure you follow her page, Cap Consultant Facebook page. That's good. Cap Consultant Facebook page. Okay. I'm going to write that. Okay. Well, We have truly been rewarded with some a wealth of knowledge on today in the nonprofit um, area, and we thank God for Cheryl Pitts that have spent this time with us, sharing with us, giving us some nuggets and some direction and some information and knowledge that is so needful. And so we appreciate her. She can't hear us, but we are getting ready to close out. It's so we couldn't do the question and answers because she can't hear. So if you have some questions, just post them as a comment. If you have a question, post it as a comment, and then but you can also email her the email address that we put. You can email her your question. Email her your question. All right. Unfortunately, we don't know what happened here. Oh my goodness. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and close out. Thank you, Cheryl. We're happy to have you. And oh my goodness, Pastor, thank you. And we're going to close out now. Again,
Bye bye.
email her if you have any questions. All right. Bye bye.